So you've arrived here having read the forums saying what a nightmare it is to change your spark plugs or your coil packs on your V6 Busso engine. It's not a nightmare. Anybody can do it. You need a basic toolkit, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do it. You need one special tool which only costs about £5 or £6 off of eBay, and it's to get these little clips off of here. You can attack those with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers, but just invest in the little tool for £5 or £6. I'll show you that later on. So quick tour around the engine bay, showing you what we've got to take off and what everything's all about. So you've got 2 banks of 3 cylinders. You've got 3 at the back, 3 at the front. This cover here shows you the access to where the coil packs are attached to there, and then spark plugs are in there, quite deep in. And you've got the same underneath the plenum chamber here. So we need to release all of this and these bits around here. You'll probably find this little clip is broken on your one. They seem to go on everybody's engine. So first of all, let's take it nice and straightforward. First of all, you need a 5mm Allen key to undo those 4 bolts there, and then this cover lifts straight off. So I'll whip that off, and then we'll have another look underneath. I'll show you where the coil packs and spark plugs are, and that'll be stage 1 all done. So here we go. Undone the 5mm Allen bolts. This one's a bit of a pain to get to because your dipstick's in the way. Once you've done that, gently lift it off. And there we go. There we have the tops of the coil packs, and then underneath the spark plugs. And it's not as difficult or as complicated as everybody makes out, because look, Alfa Romeo have made these ones 5mm as well. Bit tight, been on there a few years. And there we go. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on each coil pack. Undo those, and then that little clip there clips off, and the coil pack comes away. So do be a little bit careful. Don't be too heavy-handed with these cables around here, because if it's anything like my car, it's 18 years old, it'll probably be a bit brittle. So take it easy with the cabling. Just prise that off with a flat-bladed screwdriver, and then that'll slide backwards, and you'll be able to lift the coil packs out. So I'll loosen these off, and then we'll take one out. Well, now we have 3 of the Allen bolts out, 1 loose. If I bring the camera down a little closer, you might get a better view. So before whipping out the last Allen bolt, flat bladed screwdriver underneath the clip, pop that out, comes out that side, comes out the other side. Keep hold of that, puts it in a safe little pot. The clip, the plug itself should just pull off gently. Unplug, gently put that to one side. Whip out the last Allen bolt. Like I say, already loosened it off. Again, careful not to drop washers and bolts. Put that in a little pot, and there you have your coil pack, all nice and loose. Pops on the top of the spark plug, and away it comes with a little pop. And there is your coil pack, and down there somewhere is your spark plug in there. So right, that's your coil pack, and that's out. One thing I would advise you to do is do this one at a time. Although the wires, the cabling for all of these sort of aim where they're going to go, obviously there is a chance that if you take everything off from all 3 cylinders, you might get the plugs muddled up as to which one goes to which coil pack. It's a slim chance, but it's a chance all the same. So what I'll do is I'm going to change the coil packs today, but that's what I'm changing. But just changing the spark plugs, one top little tip coming right up. I'll get my socket set and I'll show you what I mean. Top tip number 1. We've got your ratchet, extension bar, socket. just look how far this goes into the engine. It's nestled nicely onto the spark plug now. I'll put my finger down to where the extension bar is going into the engine, withdraw that and show you, look just how far that's gone into the engine. The spark plugs are quite deep inside the engine, and you'll have noticed the insulating tape. If you've got yourself a proper spark plug socket, it has a rubber boot in there that grips around the enamel neck of the spark plug. It can grip onto the spark plug, and then you merrily wind your new spark plug in, do it up to the right torque, whip it out. You've left the socket down there in the engine on the spark plug, and you've pulled out the extension bar. Now you're stuck. You've got a socket that wants to stay with the spark plug more than it wants to stay on the extension bar. So believe me, having been down that road and found it extremely difficult to get the socket back out, insulating tape. Make sure your socket stays with your extension bar. So there we go. That's the front exposed. I'm going to nip through, changing one at a time, coil pack, coil pack, coil pack, put the front back together, and then we'll get into the guts of the job, which is doing the back. We're going to do the same job when we get to the back, but the guts of it is getting the access. And like I said at the start, it's not as terrible as everybody makes out. So I'll just quickly do this, and by the magic of video in a couple of seconds, that'll all be back together, and we'll start on the back. So there we go, it's all back together again, covers back on, nice picture of the 3 shiny coil packs in there. So moving on to the back. By the time you've done the front, you should be completely au fait with how to get the coil packs out, new ones in, that little clip, all that sort of thing. And what have we used so far? 5mm Allen key, flat bladed screwdriver, that's it. Moving on to the back. So we've got the same setup as we've got under here. So you have to gain access to here. The bit I've painted gold, you can see down the back, everything that's gold, that's all one piece. So where we had the 4 Allen bolts here holding this cover in, what we have here, we've got one down here and another one over there somewhere. But before we go taking that off, we've got to disconnect everything that's attached to it. I'll change the pipe here, but you'll have Jubilee clips, 1, 2, same clips as we've got on the front. On the back here, this one is a push those little tabs in and just pull it off, easy as you like. And good old Alfa, you've got a bracket down the back here, 5mm Allen bolts, this little black canister connected to that middle pipe there. There's a bracket down there, 2 Allen bolts either side to release that. I say this clip here holding these things in is almost certainly broken anyway, but that needs to come out of the way. Don't need to take those Allen bolts out because that's just holding that black bracket onto this bit here. So here's your special tool. This is your special tool that you need for doing those clips. The jaws are slightly different on either side, and you just get hold of the clip. If I get it on the right way round, that way round, ping it together, and they're apart. They're apart, apart, apart. You see how easy it is with this little gizmo. Definitely worth the £6 or whatever it is on eBay. So get yourself a pair of them. Little search on eBay, you'll see how easy that is. Right, I'm going to undo the Jubilee clips and those couple of Allen bolts around the back. When it's all loosened off, I'll show you how you remove the plenum chamber. It's so easy. It's a little bit trickier getting it back on, but it's really, really easy to get it off. There we go. I'll plonk you down there, carry on with these last few bits, and back to you shortly. Just a matter of a few minutes later and we are released. Jubilee clip off of there, Jubilee clip off of there, pipes off, bracket off the back here. You can see the 2 bolt holes maybe that the bracket went into, and there's another bolt hole over here. I'll maybe show you the bracket. That's how it fits on the back of the engine, and that black canister goes in there. So your Allen bolts go through there, and we've gone to a 13mm bolt over here. That was going into this hole here, so the bracket sort of comes across along here. You have to remove that. So our extensive toolkit we've used so far has expanded from a 5mm Allen key, a flat bladed screwdriver, and now we've got a 13mm socket on our ratchet. So not exactly an extensive toolkit, as I did point out when we started. So right, when we've got all of that gubbins out of the way, you might be able to see down here we've got one 5mm Allen bolt, and over here behind where the black canister and everything was, down in here is another 5mm Allen bolt, and that is all that's holding the plenum chamber on in place now. So I'll whip those off, and then you'll see me remove the plenum chamber. It all comes off in one lump, easy as you like. One thing I would say is you'll expose this end of the throttle body. Do not play around with the butterfly valve in there. You start poking it around with your fingers, you're completely ruined. Do not touch it. Other thing is, once we've got the plenum chamber off, these pipes here are going straight down into your engine. Make sure nothing goes down there, and if you're going to have that exposed for more than just a few minutes, overnight, whatever, take some bags, plastic bags over the ends of that, because you do not want anything going down there. That will ruin your engine when you start it up. So I'll nip those last two Allen bolts out, and then we'll have the plenum chamber off. Two Allen bolts are out, so this is nearly ready to come out. But before we go on to that, two more things. I've just done a little test run on the engine to make sure that everything I've done up the front on the front bank of cylinders has worked absolutely fine. There shouldn't have been any issues with it, and there weren't. But it's a good idea to do a little test run on the engine to make sure everything's working as it should do. Because when you do the back, go and fire the car up, doesn't work for whatever reason, I will know the problems at the back here, because everything up the front has worked fine. One last little thing that is holding this plenum chamber in is the electrical connector for your butterfly valve. It's a little bit tricky to get to. You might need to completely take this pipe off, but it just pops off the back, and that's that there. So we've removed the two Allen bolts at the back there, hands underneath the throttle body, not poking your thumbs inside it, and you lift up and to the back, up and to the back in that way, and these will just pop out. There we go, that is all released. Out of the way, catching on that pipe at the back there a bit. And that is your plenum chamber removed. You'll probably see a bit easier now where the two Allen bolts were holding it in. And that's all good. That's your butterfly valve. Keep your fingers and thumbs out of there. So pop that down. And now, surprise, surprise, look what we've got. We've got a mirror image of what we had at the front. So you're happy with how we did the front, one at a time, one coil pack at a time, insulating tape around the extension bar on your socket. So whether you're changing spark plugs or the coil packs, that's about it. There's a little bit of a technique to putting the plenum chamber back on, so excuse me while I change my three coil packs at the back and give the engine a little bit, well, I won't give the engine a little bit of a test run because I've got the plenum chamber off. Jumping ahead of the game there. So I will change these three coil packs, and then the next thing is putting our plenum chamber back on. So three more nice shiny coil packs in the back, or spark plugs, whichever job you happen to be doing, or both if you're doing that job. Right, over to the reinstallation of the plenum chamber. Now this could take a little while, but remember, fingers and thumbs away from that bit, and it's a reverse, typical Haynes manual style, a reverse of how you took it out. So lifting this load of gubbins out of the way. So once you get it to that sort of position, you have to try and pop each one of these in place in turn, which is easier said than done. Trust me, it can be done. I'll get our trusty flat bladed screwdriver. Run the screwdriver around there, that's one. Run the screwdriver around, make sure you've got all your clips in the right place. That's 2, 3, edge it in a bit, 4, 5, 6. Boom. Get that one back on there. That one back in there. Right. Now then, some forums would have you think that was a complete nightmare. As you can see, the getting the plenum chamber off in that direction, putting it back on, a bit of a reverse, flat bladed screwdriver just to help lift that lug over there, and you're done. So I'll get our clips back up, put them on with our super duper tool, 2 Allen bolts in the back, connect up these pipes, tighten up the Jubilee clips, not forgetting the electrical connector on the throttle body, and we should be good to go. And I have used the 5mm Allen key, flat bladed screwdriver. Well, depending on what sort of Jubilee clip you've got, you might get away with a flat bladed, or it might be a Phillips. So I was just recapping there when I think I managed to turn the camera off. But what was I saying? I was saying that we've used a 5mm Allen key, a flat bladed screwdriver. You might need to use a Phillips screwdriver depending on what sort of Jubilee clips you've got, and your 13mm socket round the back. So I'm going to bolt the whole thing together, give it a test run, make sure it works, because you don't want to find out in the morning when you go to work that you've left the electrical connector off the throttle body or something daft like that. So I think we're all good to go. So I'll just pop the clips back on, but I cannot stress enough how much time this little tool saves. And it is only about £6, and that's it, you know. Marvellous. Right, I'll pop all that back together, we'll give it a test run. Once again, by the power of video, we're all done. Back together. Before you start the engine up, just go around, make sure you've done everything. This is broken, we knew that before we started. That's all tightened up. 2 Allen bolts are in the back there, they're all tightened up. The 2 Allen bolts for holding the plenum chamber on, one down there, they're in. These are done up, clips back on. Like I say, Jubilee clips on, the air intake pipe, throttle body connectors back on in place, clips are all done across here. So there's only one more thing to do. See if she runs. Now I know you shouldn't do that on a cold engine, but you know, I haven't got hours and hours, and you haven't got hours and hours for me to let the engine get warm. So it's running fine. Obviously it's a little bit high on tick over at the moment because it's a cold engine. We know the throttle body connector is all working fine. Just tried that out, flipping it. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and I hope it's given you the vigour and the vim and the encouragement to go out there and save yourself loads of money yourself. Basic toolkit, bit of common sense, and away you go.